Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Reviews with Jake, where I just got done watching Spiral. Spiral is the next chapter of the Saw franchise, in which we have a detective who finds himself in the middle of a killing spree, seemingly at the hands of a Jigsaw copycat. For the sake of spoilers, or lack thereof, we'll just leave it at that. You maybe noticed that I paused for a week. Oops. In my defense, I was out of town for a wedding this past week, and in a normal week, I probably would have been able to thread the needle, squeeze something in there despite the fact, but it also happened to be the week that Resident Evil Village came out, and well, that made my free time a little complicated. Sorry guys, but full disclosure, as much as I love analyzing films, I think I like Resident Evil a little more. I've been sinking virtually all my free time into that, and despite the fact that I'm an OCD workaholic and it's literally been eating me alive, the fact that I have not reviewed anything this past week, I also look at my upcoming schedule and the slate of movies coming out and I'm like, holy f***, I'm about to be really busy. Starting this weekend, 2 of them coming out on the exact same day that I'm trying to knock out of the park. And these aren't 2 films that are begrudgingly on my list. They are written in pen. I want to see these movies. We kick off the 2-movie weekend with, as I mentioned before, Spiral from the Book of Saw. Now I have mixed feelings about the Saw franchise. I mean, it started off so strong under James Wan. It was grounded, it was raw, it was relatively simple enough that it still fell within the realm of possibility. And as the franchise went along, it just got more and more over the tops. The traps were so ridiculous, so intricate, way past any believability. The plot line started to get way too complicated, tangled, intricate, and it just got a little too crazy. It got away from its roots. That being said, despite the fact, I still look at the Saw franchise as a relatively fun watch. At least the original, 7 films that they released, then in 2017 they released Jigsaw, which was way unnecessary, incredibly forced. There were definitely some people out there that were expecting a Jigsaw experience out of Spiral, just regurgitating the same BS and slapping a new name on it. But for me personally, I was going in with a different mindset. Why? Simply put, because of the name. In my brain, if they were trying to regurgitate the same old thing, it would be something Saw related. Jigsaw, Saw 9, something or another. But it's Spiral, and for some reason in my head, I feel like they're not trying to feed us the same old bag of tricks. Maybe Chris Rock saw the world of Saw and said, hey, I like what you did here, but I've got something different in mind. I want to play in your sandbox, but bring my own toys, something like that. From where I'm sitting, that seems to be the only way that you can handle a remake or reboot. Respect the original, but have a reason to come and tell a story that we've already heard before, something unique. That being said, this is all in theory. Long story short, I went into this movie optimistic. I thought I was going to the movie theater to see new life breathed into a franchise that sort of shaped my younger years, when it wasn't Halloween unless there was a new Saw movie in theaters. Granted, it's May, so wow, is this even a Saw movie? Well, if you're looking at it under the lens of what the Saw franchise ultimately would become, then yes, it is a Saw movie, and the pros do start right there. A franchise that seemingly launched the gore porn genre into the spotlight gets another notch in its belt, because this movie is brutal. This is something that I found lacking in the Jigsaw installment a couple years ago. I recall being very underwhelmed by that aspect. Granted, that was 4 years ago because I obviously didn't watch that twice. Why would I? Still, the blood in this movie during the trap sequences was stomach churning. The prosthetics were top shelf stuff. Saw is another caliber entirely in terms of blood and gore, and you need that if you're going to slap that label on your movie, and this one did. I also found the overall set and production design of the film very strong, another thing that the Saw franchise has always excelled in. The traps are always impressively intricate by design, like literal gears of a machine, with everything turning in just such a way that is just ready to rip a limb or two off of you. And even disregarding the traps themselves, I've always loved the buildings that you find these traps inside. They're always these creepy, seedy places you could actually envision yourself stumbling upon if you walk down the wrong alley at the wrong time. It's almost like a haunted house experience during Halloween time. Like normally this building is used for something else, but this time of year, we hold up the funhouse mirror and show you the worst side of it. It never ceases to make your imagination go and wonder, what is going on in that abandoned warehouse down the street from my office? What kind of up shit is happening in those walls? And finally, my last pro, and maybe this is a little unprofessional of me as a critic, but I love hearing Samuel L. Jackson saying I don't know, it's just something that he's mastered over the years, and you don't really hear it anymore. He's always like Nick Fury in the Marvel movies or just in PG-13 movies in general. He just doesn't get the opportunity to shine in that realm much anymore. Hell, I mean, even in Kingsman, yeah, he can say but he has a lisp, so it's not the same. So yes, I'm loving the fact that this movie has Samuel L. Jackson saying a handful of times, and with the pros, because it made me smile, and by definition, riddle me this, what else is a pro? Speaking of riddles, okay, the cons. It's been really hard for me to really put my finger on why no Saw movie has ever lived up to the first one, and frankly, I don't think they ever will, but it wasn't until after watching this movie that I really think I figured it out. When the first Saw came out, no one knew what to expect, and they hit us in the face with that twist and we were all blown away. At that very moment, the Saw franchise became known for one thing. It wasn't the gore, at least not at first. It was the twist. Every Saw movie that came out after that, we were all watching every single detail like bloodhounds, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together before the grand reveal. Sometimes they'd still get us, other times they won't, but what matters is that we're looking for it. When I plopped down in my seat in 2021 to watch a Saw movie, not a damn thing has changed except for the fact that I can't breathe out my mask. I'm zeroed in, watching like a hawk as I try and move a ping pong ball underneath some red Solo cups. Did I sniff out the ending to this movie before it was revealed? Yes. Of course, not every single detail, that would be absurd, but I saw them lay a couple particular breadcrumbs down that I never took my eyes off of and end up paying out the way that I thought it would. So when I say this movie is predictable, I do say it with a grain of salt, because would I have sniffed it out if I wasn't on high alert as a result of knowing that I'm watching a Saw movie? Hard to say. But this is sort of the exact reason why I don't think another Saw movie will ever work, because we're always going to be on high alert whenever we see Saw in the title. Once upon a time, it was playing hide and seek with someone that does not know someone is hiding, waiting for them. Now we not only know that the game of hide and seek is happening, but we know where all the hiding spots are. What was not helping this film was the fact that this movie feels like the very bare bones version of the film. Like if this movie was a game of hide and seek, the hiding spots were a bed that you can't fit underneath, a couch that's pushed up against the wall, and curtains to a window that go up to your knees. What I'm saying is that this movie has a 90-minute runtime and gives you all the pieces to the puzzle and absolutely nothing else. This not only makes the film's pacing incredibly choppy because it just feels like it's jumping from bombshell to bombshell, never really breathing or having any flow or progression to it, but it also takes away all potential hiding spots for the twist at the end. There's no way that there could be any red herrings or false breadcrumb trails. Everything that's there is what you have to work with, and there's no way to get lost. It doesn't give us for time to get to know our characters either, making their characterization very thin and weak. The killer combo to this fact is the fact that it's way overacted. Maybe that's a little harsh considering they only have to work with the lines that are given to them. If the lines they're given are well, what can you do? The film's writing fails to find any sort of balance, so it's hard for any actor in this movie to feel like they're at the right level. Like in every scene, every actor's just yelling the whole damn time, but it's kind of hard when you know that the script literally has every line ended with an exclamation point. It kind of makes it feel like an outdated, cheesy cop film from like the 80s or 90s. I was honestly kind of shocked that no one said I'm getting too old for this shit. It was just super forced. Like in the first sequence of the film, we have McMurray from Letterkenny, which in itself gave me a solid 3 chuckles. But the dude says f like 5 times in like a minute, and it just does not sound natural. Like he's trying way too hard to sound disgruntled. Yes, I'm complaining because someone swore too much, but trust me, I don't have virgin ears. Hell, I said a pro of this movie was Samuel L. Jackson saying f. I mean, enough said. But right when I heard that in the opening sequence, I'm like, ugh. This isn't gonna be good, is it? I waited the following 90 minutes to be proven wrong, but it just never came. All in all, this movie was pretty disappointing. Unfortunately, my assessment going into this movie was way off, but it did give me a sense of clarity. That, despite the fact that the movie had an interesting vision, the poor execution continued to send the Saw franchise down the toilet hole. Hey, it's the Spiral. I'm going to give Spiral a C-. But that's just me. What do you guys think? Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments below. And make sure to subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with new reviews coming real soon. Stay safe. Thanks for checking in.